Board members, thank you for being here. Welcome to our board meeting. Let's go ahead and begin. First off, we want to thank the Highway Patrol Trooper Carlos Hawley and Security Davon Booth for being here with us today. In case of an emergency, use the two west boardroom doors to the hallway and the north or south doors to exit the building. Let's go ahead and start with the roll call vote. For not a vote, but attendance, Member Bogus, Member Bollinger, Member Booth, Member Brenton, Member Davis is excused, Member Earl, Member Green, Member Hall, Member Hart.
Yes.
I am here, Member Kelly, Member Carey, Member Lear, Member Reel, Member Wood. Thank you. We are ready to go then. And will you just let us know if Member Davis does jump online? Okay, let's begin with agenda item 1.1, Pledge of Allegiance. We've asked Member Wood or Vice Chair Wood to lead us in that. And moving on to 1.2, we'll turn time over to Member Earl with our board member message.
Thank you. So I almost put Merry Christmas up there. At my house 2 days ago, there was about 6 inches of snow, but so happy April. Just three things. This is what's been on my mind this month. So 1, spring brings preparation, spring brings work, and spring brings hope. Go to the next slide. So this is my, well, ignore all the weeds, but this is my raspberries. I just want to tell you a little story about my raspberries. We have a small farm up in Morgan, and we planted raspberries about 4 years ago. But as you can see, the circled part of this, about 2 years ago, I got 2/3 of the way down the raspberries, weeded, composted, and did not come back. And so I started in the spring with some preparation, did some work, but did not finish the job to the full extent. And then last summer, I did not get back to them at all. And unfortunately, you can't see the growth here. You can kind of see it. You get the idea, but it's the end of it is twigs. And even to get it going this spring, as I went out to say, okay, I'm going to make a good effort to get through these, it took a lot of work, especially at the end of the row, the last third. The beginning, the first part of the row, very few weeds. The compost was easy to lay down right because I'd already done the preparation and the work. And go to the next slide. I have had the opportunity over the last couple of weeks to take some time and go into, I actually reached out to about 50 educators, math educators in the elementary grades who have been highly successful with their students. And I just asked them so there's the picture of North Summit. I didn't get a picture of being there. Like I said, it's an afterthought going, oh, I should have taken a picture of that. So, and then Altaview, this is the kindergarten educators there, and they had reached out. And I just want to share just a little bit of what I saw. And some of those words that I just presented to you, I saw very deliberate effort. It was interesting as they came in from their recesses when I arrived there to watch the math lesson. They turned the music on when the kids came in, and the kids, while they were getting prepared, were singing 1 to 100. They had this cute little song that they were all just singing along as they were getting their stuff out, putting their jackets away. By the time they sat down, they'd gone all the way from 1 to 100 and ready for the activity that they were doing. On the activity they were doing, anytime they hit a 10, they had a song that, or a multiple of 10. They would sing 10, 20, 30, 40. Anyways, they'd do that. So by the time they got done with the lesson, that 30-minute lesson, they had reviewed so much content. it made me think of my raspberries as I was thinking about this. Just what could I convey to you that I've seen that's been going well. Just the work that in the preparation that went in was creating an environment where what was being produced was going to be highly effective. Go to next slide. So this is kind of my message to leave with you. Preparation plus work equals hope. It equals anticipation of what's to come and success. Work has been on my mind lately, just the work that's necessary to really accomplish things and get things done, both at my house as well as other things that I'm involved in. It's that effort that we put in and that preparation, deliberate and intentional. And I wanted to share one more thing, because Molly brings her quilts in, and Christina sings, and Randy plays the piano, and they've got these great talents, and I'm like, okay, you know how it's a risk sometimes to bring something in that you've done, but that's what I brought in a picture that I painted. This is from a few years ago, and it's deliberate and intentional. When I say that, I'm not really good at painting just abstract stuff. So this is laying the groundwork, digging the hole, right, and then providing for, giving the seed, giving a seed to the child so that they can continue the growth and move on. So it's somewhat of an allegory, but anyways, one thing when it comes to that preparation and work with this, I had 3 young children at the time, so I painted from 4 in the morning till 6 in the morning, and then you can't do it after that, right? Because everybody wants to paint as soon as people start moving. All the little ones want to help mom paint, and it doesn't quite turn out quite the same way. And because it's watercolor, I'm just sharing one more thing. The brick on there, I did all this practice on the side to get it the right texture. Practiced over and over and over and over until it looked like a brick, but also with watercolor. So anyways, we're ending with one more thing. Go ahead to the next slide. This is my closing statement. So listen carefully. Go ahead.
If April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims.
Did you catch that? I'll say it one more time because it's a little hard. If April showers bring May flowers, then what do May flowers bring? Pilgrims. Have a good day.
Thank you, Member Earl. We'll go on to 1.3, employee recognition. Superintendent Dixon.
Thank you, Chair Hymas. Good morning, everybody. Member Earl, I just have to share the whispers around me. People around me, and I'm sure others in the room, thought that was one of the student art pieces that we had purchased. So well done. So bravo to you. Oh, it's excellent. So yeah, really well done. Thank you for sharing your talents, Member Earl. I am really excited, as always, to share our Employee of the Month. And so I'm going to ask Dr. Greg Fern to come and stand and just be recognized. The best part of this is just watching the shades of red on our employees' faces, because it's very hard for them to stand and let us brag. And Dr. Fern is no exception to that. So one of the things when I'm in the building, I often love to wander about, and Dr. Fern is somebody that I just always love to run into. He is so caring and kind and concerned and friendly and always positive, always positive. And Dr. Fern works in our school improvement, he works in our Center for Continuous School Improvement. And that's not an easy place to be, because you're going in and working with educators and families and students and saying, how can we ramp things up and be better? People are working hard out in the field, and Greg is always there to help lift a hand and a heart and work side by side. When I work with our education partners who support school improvement, or our principals who are in school improvement, they always comment on how they appreciate working with Dr. Fern, because he's always so positive and caring. The person who nominated him was actually from a different department, which I love. I love when somebody outside of a department recognizes a peer. And this person went on to say that he recognizes the need for compliance, which is a lot of what we do, but he also couples that with innovation in allowing our schools to articulate the needs of their schools. And not every school has the same technical assistant needs. And this is something we've run into over the years with school improvement efforts where we have an education partner, and the complaint that we've heard is, we kind of all get the same treatment, and it's like raising your children, they all have different needs. And Greg is someone who really recognizes that and works side by side as a partner. He's passionate about his work, and the LEAs that he works with are grateful for the collaboration and support. He's always thinking about the kids first, and how they're impacted by the efforts of school improvement, and make sure to center them in the technical assistance that he provides and the resources that he creates. He's been instrumental in the implementation and success of the Elevate program. And remember, this was kind of a tricky thing where we said, let's try something different. Let's see if people will opt in to school improvement. I mean, who ever heard of doing that? But it's worked, and it's worked well. And we have people raising their hands to get into Elevate because it's not a label, it's an opportunity to really get the kind of assistance that Greg and his team provide. So he has really helped launch that and elevated, to coin a phrase, to make sure that the schools that are applying really get the support they need, but we are seeing this increase of more and more applying every year. He's also worked hard to make sure that the process is available to everyone, and especially those who have limited resource. So we're really excited to give Greg the recognition that he deserves. He's all the things I just read and more. But one thing I will say about Greg, he is just an outstanding human being. And we feel so grateful that he shows up every day and focuses on kids. So I present to you Dr. Greg Fern for his greatness, and congratulations, Greg, on being recognized. Thank you, Chair Hymas. Oh, you are Chair Hymas.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. My beard is
Hardly
gone. That's
recognized
true.
you.
Yes. Let's move to our education highlight. Kelsey.
Thank you, Chair Hymas. Kelsey James, Board Communications Coordinator. I would like to welcome up Joanna Sorensen, who is our USBE Elementary Social Studies Specialist, along with a special guest, one of our senior youth program student delegates for Utah, representing the great state of Utah on the federal level, Abilene Samant. I hope I'm saying that correctly. Okay. I will let you say it correctly. And we're going to hear a little bit about the Senate Youth Program, so I will turn it over to Joanna. The button that looks like a person.
And red means hot. Yes. Good. Okay. Good morning. It's always such a pleasure to be here with these young adults. They're not children anymore. They're young adults, and I have so much respect for them. So I know we have quite a few new board members right now, and so you may not have heard my spiel about the United States Senate Youth Program, so I'll just briefly review that. The United States Senate Youth Program provides high school juniors and seniors with an in-depth look at the federal government. Selected students, 2 from each state, travel to Washington, D.C. for a week to meet with senators and government officials to gain a deeper understanding of the 3 branches of government. The participants have to demonstrate leadership abilities. They are holding positions in student government, civic, or educational organizations, and they're nominated by their high school principals. If they are chosen by their state to be one of the 2 delegates, they receive a $10,000 undergraduate college scholarship to encourage continued coursework in government and history. The program was created in 1962 by the United States Senate and has been sponsored by the Senate and fully funded by the Hearst Foundation since its inception. And that covers all the costs, including transportation, accommodations, and meals for the delegates while they're in DC. The program's purpose or intent is to foster a deeper understanding of civic engagement and public service among promising young leaders within our educational system. So our 2 delegates from Utah this year were Abilene Samant. I asked her to teach me and I'm not a very good learner, so I apologize. Thank you for teaching me. And then Angelia Ford. So Angelia couldn't be here with us today, but just a little bit about her. She is a senior at Salem Hills High School, serves as an officer on the Senior Class Student Council. She's held leadership positions in DECA, been president of FBLA, president of National Honor Society, served 3 years on the Salem Youth Council. She's done debate, Girl State, Freedom Academy, and Close Up Foundation. She's earned the Business and Marketing Sterling Scholar Award. She plans to receive a master's degree in business finance with a minor in political science. Her dream is to be an entrepreneur and manage a successful company and eventually run for United States Senate. I always feel so inadequate when I introduce these. I was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up at this age. Abelie is a senior at Utah Virtual Academy. She serves as president of the student body. She's president of her school's chapter of FBLA and is a member of the National Honor Society. She served as class president, in 9th and 10th grades. She participates in several community service activities. I love this, such as volunteer tutoring for the past 2.5 years through an organization called Learn to Be. She's also been volunteering for 3 years at Engine, where she helps Ukrainian teenagers improve their conversational English. I know. Abelie is an active peer tutor under the leadership of her NHS chapter, and she plans to major in biochemistry and eventually get a doctorate. So I'm going to turn the time over to Abelie. She has prepared a presentation for you, and Leah, she's embedded a message from Leah within her slides. We're crossing our fingers that the tech works. If the video from Leah does not work today, then Kelsey will send it out to all of you after the fact. So turn the time over to our brilliant young adult.
Hello, thank you so much for that introduction. As she said, I'm Abelie Samant, and I am so grateful to have gotten this opportunity to get to go to Washington, D.C. for a week and get the scholarship. So I just made this presentation with a few highlights from our week. This is a photo of me and my co-delegate Leah in Washington. Could you please move over to the next? Okay, thank you. And, oh. That's supposed to be a video from Leah, but I don't know if it's gonna work. Okay, awesome. Could you go to the next slide? Okay, thank you. Our dates of our Washington week were March 1st through March 7th. So on the first day, it was mostly just, and you can move over to the next slide. On the first day, we mostly just went to Washington. We were like traveling for most of the day, and we got to meet our fellow delegates from all over the country. And there were also 2 delegates from Washington, D.C. and 2 delegates from overseas military bases. So it was very cool to get to know everybody. And the second day, and you can move over to the images. So we first went to Mount Vernon, where George Washington used to live, and we also went to the Smithsonian Museum, and on the bottom you'll see a few pictures from our hotel. It was very fancy and 3-course meals. It was really cool. So on the third day, this was really cool because we got to, I don't think there's any pictures of it here, but we got to go to the Supreme Court, and we got to meet one of the justices, Brett Kavanaugh, and we got to hear from him, so that was very cool. And We also heard from a bunch of other speakers. We heard from the Librarian of Congress, who's, you can see that on the left in the middle there. That's the Librarian of Congress. She was really awesome. And Senator Jean Shaheen. It was very cool to hear from her too. And in the center, that's my military mentor group. We all had military mentors, and it was very cool to be able to learn from them. And the next day, this is very cool. This is probably my favorite day of the week. We went to the National Archives. We saw like the original copies of the Constitution and stuff like that. We also went to the Department of State, and we had just so many wonderful conversations. And we also went to the U.S. Institute of Peace, and we heard from Ambassador Fajer from Mexico. Yeah, and then the day after that, we went to NASA, and we also, this is kind of more of a relaxed day, and we also heard from an NBC News correspondent, and we also got to go to the United States Senate. This was the annual Senate reception, so we got to meet our senators, and there's a picture on the bottom right of us with Bernie Sanders, which was so cool. And if you go to the next slide, there's pictures of me and Leah with Mike Lee and John Curtis. So it was very cool to be able to talk to both of them. And the day after that, we got to go to the White House. We got to go inside, and everything was very fancy, and it was just so cool. It was such an honor to be able to go inside there. And we also went to the Capitol. We also got to hear from Amy Klobuchar. Her speech was really awesome. She didn't have that much time, but she still managed to make time for us, and I really appreciate that. And also we heard from Senator Thom Tillis. And then could you move over to the next slide? Thank you. So this was our last day. It was kind of sad. We heard from someone at I think it was Lisa Roth at the World Central Kitchen, and we went to the Arlington National Cemetery, and we also got to go inside the Pentagon and hear from Pete Hegseth. Oh, and I forgot to say this before. When we went to the Department of State, one of the people we heard from was the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio. And yeah, we also got to meet Pete Hegseth and get a tour of the Pentagon. And yeah, the last day we had a farewell ceremony, and yeah, it was very cool. And I think after that, I just have a few photos of selfies with people. It was so cool to be able to meet everyone. Everyone there was so amazing and so accomplished and so passionate. And, I was just inspired so much by meeting everyone there. And we also got to meet our military mentors, which are on the next slide. I've never actually really been around anyone in the military because no one in my family is in the military, so it was very cool to be able to meet them and hear their experiences. And also, the next slide, there were so many desserts. So I just had to include that in there. Okay. Well, yeah, and that's the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching.
I was a little bit worried about her when she said the day at NASA was a relaxed day, but the dessert slide, now you're okay. Now I'm not so worried about you. Kelsey, were you able to?
Hello everyone, my name is Angelia Ford. I'm a senior at Salem Hills High School and United States Senate Youth Representative from Utah. I'm sorry I couldn't be there with you guys today. I'm currently out of town for spring break, but I'm excited to be sharing with you guys some highlights from our amazing time in Washington, D.C. A little bit about myself. I'm really passionate about both business and government and want to pursue a career in both. I want to run for the United States Senate later in my future, and I'll be attending Brigham Young University this year studying international relations with a minor in political science. Washington Week was a truly unforgettable and transformative experience. We had the opportunity to hear from some really amazing people, tour some exciting and exclusive places, and become friends with the other 103 delegates from across the country. Just to go over speakers a little bit, some speakers that stood out for me were Ambassador Faher from Mexico, Senator Klobuchar, and Senator Tillis. The reasons for this is because they were very bipartisan speakers to us, and they really just taught about how it's important to be bipartisan in the federal government. They gave us a really good candid look at our government and using facts and data. And they pushed why it's really important for us youth leaders to try to be as bipartisan as we can, reach across the aisle, and disagree better. Some places that we went that were my very favorite was the Supreme Court with Justice Kavanaugh. It was so beautiful and a really exclusive look at our Supreme Court. The Department of State with Marco Rubio, it was so beautiful, so cool to be in there. Not many people get to go there. And the United States Institute of Peace with Ambassador Moose was a really cool experience. This behind-the-scenes look really solidified my love for Washington, D.C. and how I really want to be there one day as a senator. The possibly most favorite part for me of Washington Week was meeting, connecting, and networking, and becoming best friends with the other 103 delegates from across the country. They gave me, and I'm sure others, a really unique perspective on our futures in college, and they were so accomplished and motivating for all of us. It was really cool to talk to people from such different and diverse backgrounds from across the country, and just gain inspiration and motivation from them, because they're all so amazing. And I'm sure my co-delegate Abali can agree how amazing of a network and connection and community that we have with the other delegates now. We talk pretty much every day on our group chats, and I talk separately to so many of them. I'm so grateful to the Utah Board of Education for aiding us in this opportunity, and the Hearst Foundation for setting it all up for us. Washington Week just changed my outlook and solidified my future plans, and really taught us about the meaning and importance of being bipartisan, as well as taught us about the roles of the federal government in our life. And it lastly just gave an amazing network and inspiration to us amazing youth leaders that are up and coming. And I'm so grateful for my opportunity, and I'm so excited to see what my other delegates do in their futures.
I would like to thank Abali and Leah virtually for being able to participate and share some of their experiences here. And I know we are all so grateful and proud for how these young women have represented the state of Utah in our nation's capital. So I'm going to kind of open it up in case there's any questions or comments from board members. Well, we have one of our student delegates here who can speak to that. And I'll leave that to Chair Hymas.
Thank you, Kelsey. Any questions or comments from board members? Member Brinton.
Just meet with senators, or did you get to go in the House as well and meet with any of our congressmen or women?
No, unfortunately, we
Was
didn't
just
get
the
to meet
Senate?
any of the House representatives. It was because it's the United States Senate Youth Program, so
Oh,
it's
that would make
organized
sense.
by the Senate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying. Well,
Yeah.
congratulations. That is so
you.
impressive. I wish I could tag along for a trip like that. That's something you'll remember your whole life.
Yeah,
Wow.
For sure.
Thank you, Member Brinton, and thank you for representing Utah and doing well. We'd love to see it. Thank you.
Thank you
both
so
of
much.
Okay.
Superintendent Dixon, would you come do a picture out in the hall?
Okay.